as always, or almost always, by the final boss himself, Eddie. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thank you, Tony. And yes, I think our new format for Tiger Talk Wrestling, if we get into a tie, I think me and you should go for a swing off to see who wins the debate.
Yeah, you might have a good point there. That's crazy the way they end the All-Star game that way yesterday.
Oh, yes. And by the way, I am more experienced on hitting a baseball because I used to play back in high school. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the Great American Bash, the Dusty Rhodes pay-per-view, baby. I'm a big baseball fan. Tony loves his Tigers. Last night All-Star game was beautiful. Everything was beautiful during the game.
I do.
But the ending was a swing off. Game was tied at 6-6 at the end of 9 innings. And then instead of going to extra innings, they did a home run derby. And the National League won 4-3. In my lifetime of watching All-Star games, never saw a home run derby to decide who was going to win the All-Star game. So leave a comment of what you thought about it, and then leave a comment about what we're going to talk about the Great American Bash, because I'm confused. This is baseball, right? So let's get to the thing. I'm ready to talk about the Great American Bash 1998. So let's get to the festivities.
Yeah. We will talk about that here in just a second. YouTube's not showing up here. Hopefully it's working right. I would live. I don't need to invite anybody else. The two people that need the invite are here.
We're inviting mystery people.
Yeah, we could do that, but no, it doesn't even show what I posted there. Oh well. Anyway, yes, we are here to talk about the 1998 Great American Bash. We figured since this past weekend was WWE's Great American Bash, then it'd be in July. It'd be a good time to bring up an old Great American Bash show. With that, told me we can't access your video for 2 seconds. So, can you still hear me? It's telling me that it's having issues.
I hear you. Now I can see you because you're a little fuzzy.
Okay. Just making sure. 1998 was interesting year for WCW, of course. They're in the middle of winning the Monday Night Wars at that point in time. So things were kind of on the uptick to the first match that took place at the Great American Bash in 1998. That, of course, was a match 7 in the best of 7 series, which was really match 8, as they would explain, because they had match 7 on Thunder.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I'm reading the notes that it keeps popping up on here saying it's just struggling to record. I don't care. As long as it's on, that's all that matters. On Thunder, they had a match 7 prior to the Great American Bash, which Booker T technically won by disqualification after Bret Hart got involved, which led to this match 8, or the actual 7th match in the best of 7 series between Booker T and the Wolverine. I do remember, and I watched this show last night again. I do remember that best of seven series and how great it was and how much it helped both men in WCW at the time and kind of propelled them into the upper echelon and towards what they would become as WCW champions eventually. Um, this was a pretty good match to kick off the show, in my opinion. What did you think of everything leading up to it and this match, Eddie?
Okay, so I watched that. I watched that tremendously back in the day. Um, Booker T finally coming out of the so called some slowly coming out of the Harlem Heat tag team, which was by far one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Yeah, you got the Steiners, you got LOD, but Booker T and Stevie Ray were the shit back then.
Correct.
And yes, they are not from Harlem, by the way. They're from Houston, Texas, but they got the name Harlem Heat. Um, what I gotta say about this match, this showed that Booker T was going to be a main eventer, and eventually he was. To eventually he was. He became a WCW. Sorry, a five-time WCW World Champion. You know, and he showed what he can do. And then the other guy, the Wolverine, had a great career. Excuse me, I'm going to say it anyway. Fucked it up with his stupidity and what he did, and now he has no legacy because of it. But I enjoyed every match.
Right.
I enjoyed every match. I enjoyed seeing these two work because this is the first time that Booker T worked with a single. To me, I felt like if you work with the Wolverine, he's going to make you into a star. Because the Wolverine was the shit. He was the nonchalant in the mid card. And I feel like all matches are good until that last one when Hulk Hogan's lackey, which I still to this day don't think he should have been his lackey, Bret the Hitman Hart,
Right.
was interfering in a match that he had no business to. But we'll get to the Hitman Bret Hart towards the match that he has later in the night. But good match. It showed these two can work together, and I felt like either way, I didn't care for one because whoever won, you can't doubt the other guy saying, man, he couldn't win the last match. They bust their matches for 8 matches, and it came out that they came out
Right.
they both came out like $1 million.
Oh yeah, I agree. You mentioned how if you could work with Wolverine back then, he made you look like $1 million. To me, the Wolverine then reminded me of Bret Hart when he first broke away from the Hart Foundation.
You know, I agree with you because if you look at the Wolverine and then you got the Hitman Bret Hart,
That's who
who
I would compare it
basically,
to.
you know, the Heart Dungeon, the legacy of the Heart Dungeon, and we're not talking about the dungeon dolls, because that's a waste of fucking time right now, in the WWE. But yeah, but
Right.
you knew the Wolverine was so technical in the ring, hard hitting. The man went to Japan, did his stuff there. I mean, he could work. It's hard, and you know this, Tony, for a fact. We never actually talked about this. It is really hard for a tag team specialist to go from a tag team and go to a single run. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, because they're so used to being with that partner. Even if it's your brother, even if it's your best friend, you're in that tag team for multiple years, and then the company goes like, we're going to separate you. You are basically putting your career in jeopardy. I mean, there are some guys, if you look down the list of greatest tag teams, the Steiners, they broke them up. Scott was better than Rick.
Yes.
I'm sorry to say this. You know, Scott did what he could, but Scott was better. You break up the Legion of Doom, in which they did. Animal sucked as a single competitor after Hawk died. But you look at Hawk's Animal single run in WWE, it sucked. They changed her from a road warrior to a gay biker.
Right.
I mean, it was the shittiest character.
Much.
I mean, look at the natural disasters. You break them up. You turn Earthquake into a fish, and then you turn Typhoon into the Shockmaster. I mean, well, we can't say nothing about that because if you look at the career of the Shockmaster, we still talk about it today. So, I mean, Shockmaster wins. I mean, he still gets talked about, but just falling with a Star Wars cap on. You know, so, with a stormtrooper. Yeah, but let me stop because I could go on and on about tag teams splitting up, but yeah, good work by both men and good careers and to a certain extent from one person.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we'll move on. Good opening contest to kick off the show after they'd done a bunch of talking about other stuff before they even got into the match. But that's the way WCW seemed to roll with things at times. They move into the next match, which was Perry Saturn, or just Saturn as he was known from the flock then, going up against Canyon, who had just dropped his Mortis gimmick at that time. However, the Mortis music played and somebody dressed up as Mortis did come out, and Canyon ended up getting in the ring from behind Saturn and attacked him to start off the match. And I almost hate to say this, but because I know these two guys are really talented in the ring, but this match was just, it was there. It was a match, if that's what you want to call it anyways. Too much interference. You have a couple different Mortises getting involved. It was there.
I agree. It was a sloppy match. I mean, it was all over the place. It was just sloppy. I mean, I don't know what the hell to call it. I mean, it was like, let's just throw this shit together so we don't know what we're doing. So yeah, I agree with you. I feel like this match this match almost won 15 minutes. I feel like this match could have went 8, and it still would have been crap.
Yeah, it's crazy how long the match went, but like I said, when they end up having two Mortises come in the ring and get involved, the referee doesn't really seem to care or matter or try to get them out of the ring. And then we find out who one of the Mortises was, but we don't know who the other one was because they never revealed that. But after the match, of course, Canyon gets an even flow DDT by one of the Mortises. That was, of course, Raven. And then started the turn of Saturn leaving the flock after the match as well. That was the biggest takeaway from the whole thing. The flock ended up going after Saturn, but
yeah. And still to this day, Billy Kidman
it was a shit show in a way.
And still to this day, Billy Kidman is still itching.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. All right. So the next match was for the vacant Cruiserweight Championship because we got Chris Jericho, the former champion, against Dean Malenko, who had just vacated the title on the Thursday before, so he could get this match. Jericho and Malenko, I don't think ever had a bad match with each other, but the ending of this match was very confusing, and I don't know what all really to say about it. I mean, you got a winner by disqualification in Chris Jericho, but they didn't really specify if he was the new Cruiserweight champion. The Cruiserweight title was vacant. The hell out of it.
You put it on the point. Great match, technical geniuses with these two. You put it on the point. Great match. Even Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan didn't know who the hell was the champion. And that's bad when your announcer don't even know. Two things that have come away from this is towards the end, when Jericho runs away, he runs across the street into a building. I mean that one's like hilarious. Seeing a guy run away and seeing him run into a building, and then right. the other thing leading up to this match, Jericho's famous 104, a man with 1,000 holes. Jericho with the man with 1,004, and then a whole list: armbar, takedown, armbar. It's like typical Jericho. And the other thing, it's not a nitpick, but
armbar.
Yeah,
armbar.
Yeah, I love that the WWE put Jericho's WWE theme over his WCW theme.
Right. You still here?
Yeah, I'm here. Something just popped up. Can you hear me?
I may have lost him.
No, I'm here.
I was going to say, I didn't see you there. Now I can. Yeah, I hear you. Now I see you again, too.
Yeah, I mean, the Jericho.
I hear you. Okay, continue.
Yeah, the Jericho theme from WWE is voicing over Jericho's theme from the WCW theme. It's fun. It makes me laugh every time I hear that.
Right? I thought that too when I was watching it last night. I was like, that's not the theme song he had in WCW. That's his WWE theme.
It's just funny, but I get it. They don't want to do any copyright, but they own the goddamn company.
Right. So it's weird. But it is what it is. Whoops. Oh, I don't want it 5 seconds. But it's going to be for 5 seconds for the moment. So then we go from that match into a mismatch, if you will, because they show a video of Hoovy, who had recently unmasked after losing a match to Jericho. And it was a weird video, I thought. Didn't really understand the point in showing it, personally. Maybe you felt differently about it, I don't know. But nonetheless, we get a mixed match out of this because Hoovy a cruiserweight, goes up against Reese, who's over 7 feet tall and has Lodi in his corner as well.
Oh yeah.
And we proceed to get
yeah. You're right about one thing. That video package made no sense. He's just walking around looking at stuff. Okay, how is he supposed to talk? Is he supposed to just stare and breathe?
Yeah.
I mean, it was an odd package for Hoovy.
It didn't seem to help out the character any, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
It just seemed like it was filler. And then, like I said, he goes up against a 7'2" as they build him monster, if you will, in Reese. And the match was a little bit of a hit and run, cat and mouse, if you will, as Hoovy tried to make Reese chase him at points. But it was definitely a mismatch. And Reese should have won this match on multiple occasions. This match really just didn't need to happen on a pay-per-view, in my opinion. But it did. And the only thing that came out of it was you get Van Hammer, who had, I believe, just left the flock not that long beforehand, coming out there, hitting Reese in the back with the steel chair, leading to a Hurricane Rana from Hoovy to get the win.
Hands down, this match made no sense. But at least we all know that Hoovy didn't get humped like Hogan did.
That's true. Oh, Reese was the Yeti?
Yep. Nobody knows this. Reese was the Yeti, Big Ron Stud. Then he was the Super Ninja, whatever the fuck that stupid character. Yeah. Reese was the Yeti. And then they turned him into this.
I remember that.
Yeah. If you look at Reese's thing, I already knew about this because when I was like, yo, that's the Yeti. Yeah. Reese was the Yeti that helped the Giant have sexual contact with Hulk Hogan at Halloween Havoc.
That's what it looked like anyway. Which is crazy. He never did go anywhere in WCW or anywhere else, though.
No.
Big man that couldn't do much, I guess.
No, I didn't even understand that character. It was a Bischoff thing to make fun of. I don't know what the hell he was trying to do. I mean, you could have put the Goon in there and it would have been better.
Right? Yeah, who knows? Bischoff probably doesn't even remember now. Oh.
No, he don't. I bet he don't.
All right. We'll move on from that atrocity into Vito Chavo Guerrero Jr. going one-on-one with his uncle, Eddie Guerrero. This was, I believe, from what they said, was the first time ever that we've seen Chavo Guerrero versus Eddie Guerrero one-on-one. And being uncle and nephew, they had a really good match. Probably, in my opinion, perhaps the best match on this card.
What can you say about that? What can you say about the Guerreros? I mean, it's Eddie and Chavito. I mean, Chavito was starting that crazy that crazy gimmick that he brought a horse, that he brought a wooden the wooden horse, and they called it Pepe.
Pepe. Yes. Just before he brought in Pepe.
Yeah, I
That
gotta
was a
say,
hilarious gimmick, might I add, for anybody who hasn't watched WCW from back in those days.
most definitely. You know, I know a lot of history of Pepe. Pepe is actually the brother of Moppy. You're welcome.
Well, that seems to be accurate.
Mm-hmm. And then they have cousins. Then they have cousins. They got Mr. Sacco, the Cobra, and then they got the Iguana.
Jessica. Crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta do that. You could throw in others in there too, like
Yeah, I
Sacco.
know. Oh, Mr. Sacco. Then you got Head, and then their uncle is Head.
Yep. Yes. But anyways, back to the match between Chavo and Eddie.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the match was good. It's Eddie Guerrero and Chavito.
What did you
I mean,
think of the match altogether?
I loved it. You know, like I could put that right now.
Yeah.
Going back to this so many years. Holy shit! I just thought of this. I think this was the when was this match? This was the first pay per view me and Trina watched when we first dated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it is. But you know what? I gotta say, I put this up with the Wolverine and Booker T match because these they know how to work together. Chavito, you know, Eddie, even as a tag team, they were good. You know,
Yes.
but they always had. I feel like, and you could say to me to this day, and you could tell me if I'm dead wrong. When Eddie and Chavo left when they left WCW and they got into the WWE, I feel like their rivalry, when they ever did it, it got put to a next level. It got showcased more. And I feel like their run in WCW was good,
Yes.
but it wasn't great until they got to WWE when you had people that ran the company right and actually showcased their talent. When they were in WCW, and you know this for a fact, Eric Bischoff hold them back.
Right. Yeah, Bischoff did hold a bunch of people back, especially cruiserweights. Um, but yeah, I would agree with you. I think they had probably their best matches in WWE once they got there against each other. And you can't go wrong with the Los Guerreros as SmackDown Tag Team Champions either, for that matter.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, Chavito and, you know, Eddie as
Because they gave
well.
us some of the funniest vignettes of all time.
Most definitely. Even when Chavo turned heel and turned on Eddie, that match that they had, their first feud in WWE, um, when Chavo Classic, when Chavo Guerrero Sr. was at ringside and Eddie beat the living crap out of Chavo, and he beat him so much like he owed him money.
I lost you there for a second again. I didn't catch what you were saying there about Chavo and Eddie. And
I feel
Chavito.
like that first match after Chavo turned on Eddie, they had that match when Chavo Classic, Eddie's brother was there, and after the match, Eddie snapped and started punching Chavo that he started bleeding. You know, I forgot what pay-per-view that was, but that showed how much freedom WWE gave the Guerreros to show their talent. And I give WWE a lot of praise because if it wasn't for the Guerreros going to WWE, I don't see the Guerreros being Hall of Famers. Plain and simple.
I agree. Fully agree.
Are we good?
We
can
can
you hear
sit
me
here
all
and
right?
talk all day about Eddie Guerrero, but
Most definitely we can.
But we got the other half of this show to go over, so we'll move on. Because up next, you got Booker T in his second match of the night as he faces Fit Finlay for the WCW World Television Championship. This match wasn't the greatest when towards the end you get the crowd chanting boring, boring. They were chanting a few other things throughout the match as well that had nothing to do with the match really. Sounded like somebody in the crowd got ejected at one point in time because they were saying na 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 hey 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 goodbye. Maybe it's the Fit Finlay style that the crowd wasn't connecting to, but I feel like when you watch it back and bring in the crowd reaction and everything, this really wasn't all that great of a match, but it wasn't all that terrible either between Finlay and Booker.
Yeah, I watched this match back and I felt like, I know that Finlay was the television champion. I felt like maybe a couple of weeks prior to the best of 7 that they should have took the title off for him and that Booker T and the Wolverine should have had that as the television championship match. I mean, it would have been 10 times better than this match. I mean, Finlay was new to the company, and I think he had his long hair by then, right? He had his long hair, did he?
I think he had it cut short by then.
Yeah. I always feel like
Not
Finlay...
short, but it wasn't as long as when he first came in.
I feel like Finlay, no offense to Fit Finlay, great international wrestler, but he never clicked with the American audience. And poor Booker T had to last in this match with him, and it didn't click well. And that's what you get when you throw 2 different opposite guys into one match.
One thing I will say about this match, besides that, the ending of it was definitely unique. Booker had him set up for a pile driver, but Booker dropped Finlay not the way you're supposed to for a pile driver. Finlay was lucky he didn't break his neck the way he landed.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember. Oh man, It was a little rough, but they got through it. This is what you get when you got to kill time.
Yeah, right. Booker T did win the World Television title. Of course, Stevie Ray comes out after the match to celebrate with Booker.
Oh yeah.
Had been not too long after that Stevie Ray turned on Booker T to join the NWO.
And took the World Television Championship with him.
Yeah, because if I remember right, Booker was injured. So
Yeah.
Stevie kind of took over as television champion.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But that's Eric Bischoff booking for you, I guess. All right. So now then we go downhill for the majority of the rest of the show, in my opinion. We get the United States Championship on the line as Dumman Goldberg defends against Conan from the Wolfpack with Kurt Hennig and Rick Rude in his corner. This was typical Goldberg match back then. He was 99-0 going into the match, what they build him as anyway. And he dominated Conan, beat him within less than 2 minutes with the spear. It really wasn't a spear, it was more a tackle. And then the jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. The bigger story, besides that, Goldberg was now 100-0. Bigger story was Kurt Hennig and Rick Rude beating up Conan after the match and revealing that they were actually part of the Black and White, and it was all a ruse, claiming that Kurt was injured so he couldn't compete in this match.
This match went longer than Goldberg's speech on Saturday night's main event.
Maybe too soon, but yes, it did.
I mean, you just said it. Goldberg back around this time was the man. I mean, I don't know how the hell he got to 99-0 by June. But he was 99-0 going into the match, and yeah, let's just go from that. It was a Goldberg match. What are you gonna do? Kurt Hennig, and may they rest in peace. Kurt Hennig and Rick Rude joining NWO Hollywood. Did we not see that coming? Because it was Kurt Hennig and Rick Rude. I mean, you get what you get, But yeah, good win for Goldberg, going on to his historic run, and then first of all, I want to say, and I know speaking of Goldberg, I want to say congratulations on a tremendous career. Saturday night's main event and show that you can still go at your age, but congratulations on a great career. You didn't win, but good luck to what you ever do, and you got a dirty way to go out that you only get 10 seconds. I mean, if your match can last almost 2 minutes, you hit a record for the lowest point in your career. So congratulations, Bill. you know, like, sorry to say this, but I think Goldberg should have got more respect. But it is what it is. So, Bill, congratulations on your great career.
So, yes, I agree with that part. But he's gone on and he's bitched and complained about the match being on a Saturday night's main event instead of a PLE, and how they cut off the speech and this and that and the other. It's like, dude, you should be grateful. At least they gave you the final match. They gave you a World Heavyweight Championship match. How many guys have had to retire or gotten told, hey, best of luck in your future endeavors, and haven't gotten that final match.
You know, I agree with you. I understand that he didn't want it on Saturday Night's Main Event. You know, you could have spoke up and say, "Hey, let's do this on a premium live event. Let me have my last match on a premium live event." There was one 3 weeks before that he could have been in Saudi Arabia. I mean, he could have been doing that. He could have been doing this. I don't know what he's bitching about. You know, he got his farewell. Hell, at least he's maybe he'll call up Tony Khan and say, "Hey, can I have my final match in WC and AEW? You know, because WWE did me wrong. He might retire for a second time." Hell, he's got to beat Ric Flair.
Maybe he tries to do this thing over in AEW.
Yeah, I mean, hell, he has to make it up. He has to pass Ric Flair for 8 retirement matches. I mean, come on.
Right? All right. I mean, they even had made sure the Saturday Night's Main Event was in Atlanta just for him to make it so his last match was in his adopted hometown. So, Anyway, we'll move on past that. He had a good career. At least he got his final match, whether he liked it or not. We move on from that to quite the interesting tag team match. I got representing WCW, Rowdy Roddy Piper, teaming up with NWO Wolfpack's Macho Man Randy Savage to face NWO Hollywood's Bret the Hitman Hart, and of course then WCW champion Hollywood Hulk Hogan with the Disciple in the corner. I'm sure you got a lot to say about this match, so I'm going to let you just take it from there, Eddie.
Okay, first of all, 4 of the greatest Hall of Famers, hands down. They're great workers. Hogan, still an asshole. But great in-ring performer. The Hitman Bret Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Only in the World Wrestling Federation. Let me just say that. He was the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Only in the World Wrestling Federation.
Right.
The Disciple. I don't know what the fuck to call you. Do I call you Brutus the Barber?
What do you mean? He was WCW champion.
I mean, what do I call you, Disciple? Do I call you Brutus the Barber Beatcake, the Butcher, the Booty Man, or do I call you the Zodiac? The Zodiac. I don't know what the fuck to call you. The only thing I call you is still crying for Hulk Hogan to give you his bottle.
Right.
You know, Hot Rod Roddy Piper. What can I say about the Hot Rod? What can I say about Hot Rod Roddy Piper? I love the man. Worked really good. But at this time, I think Roddy Piper should have hanged it up because he didn't have to do any more matches. He already had an stable career. And then my favorite, the man that I always admire, Macho Man Randy Savage. Savage was the greatest of all time. I mean, I feel like he never got a good run as champion because he always had the whining bitch and Hulk Hogan like, I need the title. It's my title. Shut the fuck up, you two-faced bitch. You know, so let me say about this match. It was a match of 4 guys that could run the table. But it wasn't what it was. And the point with the Hitman Bret Hart, and still to this day, I feel like he should have never left the WWF. I feel like he went to WCW. He got all the glitz and glamour by Eric Bischoff saying he was going to be a major main eventer in the promotion. And what happened? We get the Montreal screw job. Brett lose the title to Shawn at Survivor Series. Brett goes to WCW and manages a match between referees a match between Eric Bischoff and Larry Sabisco. What the fuck is that? You are a referee and you just came off one of the controversial wrestling in history, and you become a referee, and then in the main event of that Starrcade 97, you basically fuck up a match and basically try to screw stuff like you played it over again. WCW, and I hate Eric Bischoff for this. Eric Bischoff says, well, Bret Hart wasn't any good when he came to us. You know why he wasn't good? Because you had your head stuck up Hulk Hogan's ass. That's why Bret Hart never got a chance when Hogan was there. The only time Bret got a chance was when Vince Russo screwed Bret at the night at Bash at the Beach in '99, and then Hogan went home with his ball, crying like the bitch he is. To me, to this day, Bret Hart should have never went to WCW. I know the money was good, but Bret Hart's run in WCW absolutely sucked. So this is what I say about this match. I give this match a flat D- because you got three guys that actually gave a shit about the business, and then you have a guy that absolutely just gives a shit about himself. This is why in 1998 WCW was starting to bleed because of one guy. Hulk Hogan was a piece of shit, and that man destroyed WCW. I'm done. Now it's your turn because that's my opinion and I'm sticking to it.
Well, I mean, so let's go over a little fact here. You mentioned back at Starrcade 97, Bret made his debut in WCW. That was the night Sting, of course, beat Hollywood Hulk Hogan to win the WCW World Championship. How many times did that championship change hands from December until this show in June?
A lot.
Well, like 4 or 5 times probably.
Yeah.
Because it went from Sting, I think, back to Hogan, to Savage, to Hogan, at least, if not more times than that.
Yeah, because Scott Hall was supposed to get the shot because he won World War III. At Super Bowl.
Yeah. Right. There's just all kinds of craziness for the WCW World Championship at that time. And like we said, Hogan got it back. I mean, Hogan would lose it not too long after the Great American Bash in Atlanta to Goldberg, and Goldberg would go on a lengthy run as champion, but it was too much of Hogan politicking to get the title back around his waist, even after Sting won it and should have held it for a much longer run after the storyline of Sting being the WCW Crow, WCW savior, if you will, in a way, when he got the win in Starrcade. Sting should have had a better run and should have still been champion come Great American Bash, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah, this tag team match was messy. Piper and Savage got along for most of it, but in the end, all 4 men were in the ring. Savage was going up top to hit the elbow, and Hogan pushed Piper into the ropes, I think, which caused Macho to lose his balance, injured his knee. Brett ends up locking in the sharpshooter to get the submission win. To which, of course, that match would lead in right exactly into the next match. Savage, who's already hurt knee-wise, and I think he ended up having to go out and have surgery from it because he disappeared from TV for quite a while, if I remember right after this.
Oh, yeah, most
would
definitely.
face Piper in a very short minute and a half match, if that. Piper would eventually. God.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this match, the second match with Piper, and I was really hoping that match was going to be a little longer, but due to the injury with Savage, I mean, when Savage came back from surgery, man, he was ripped. I mean, he was brolic and he was fit than he ever been before.
Yeah. It almost looked like he had done steroids.
Oh, he did.
Or something. He's looking bigger, that's for sure. Piper would get the win with a figure four leg lock after a referee got knocked out. Another one had to come out and for Savage to submit, but that was that crap. And then we go in to the main event of the Great American Bash for control of the WCW Tag Team Championships. You got the Giant versus Sting. Of course, one of the most infamous things in WCW happened for this match as the Giant would come out to the ring smoking a cigarette. ECW, sure, you were used to seeing that from certain ECW or WWE or WWF at the time, but just to see the Giant walk out there with the cigarette just hanging out of his mouth, it's like, really, do you even care about what you're doing here? Their whole build up to the beginning of the match was based off of the cigarette.
You know, right? You're right about that. It's like I always felt with guys that made the big bucks in WCW. Some of them didn't care. They're like, okay, we're in a pay per view. Let's just go out there. I get my paycheck afterwards. That's the way it was in '98. I felt like some guys didn't care because they know that they were getting their paycheck at the end of the bout. You know, so yeah, I totally agree with you with that.
And this match wasn't really all that long. It was, I want to say, about 9-10 minutes, something like that. Kind of sloppy for the most part. Sting delivered multiple stinger splashes. Ended up hitting, I think, 3 Scorpion. What was that?
The match in total was 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
You say 6 of the stinger splashes?
No, the entire match time was 6:40.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I didn't even think it was quite 10 minutes, but
no.
Right. Just shitty. But yeah, like I said, Sting delivered multiple stinger splashes. The Giant block kicked out of a couple of Scorpion Death drops. And then it would take a super Scorpion Death drop for Sting to eventually get the win. You still got me?
Yep, I got you. I can hear you.
Hopefully you caught that.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Let's see, I had a couple things popping up again. But the Giant had so many better matches in WCW before that. It seemed like he should have been able to put on a better match with Sting here than what he did. I don't know if it was just because of the time constraint, being the short match, or what. But it just, to me, it didn't feel like an actual main event.
Are you good? Can you see me? Hello.
Did you not hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you going in and out.
I see you and hear you. Can you?
You're going.
Oh,
You're
okay.
spot. You're
Can you hear me
spotty.
better now? Maybe.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hold on. Maybe now. Let's get rid of this. See if that helps. Now you got me better.
Yeah, I can hear you clicking too. So yeah, I can hear you.
No.
Yeah, I can hear you clicking too. So.
Okay. I was gonna say. The main point for me was I felt like they should have had a better match. Should have had more time to it. It just didn't feel like a main event.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I feel like it. Like you just said, I feel like it was. Then he give the Stinger and the Giant more time, and hell, the Giant was on an historic run by then. He was an NWO member, became a face, went back to the NWO, left left WCW, joined WWF, became a became a heel, helped Vince McMahon, turned face at the WWF and WWE, turned face, turned heel, turned face. Paul White has so many heel turns and face turns. I think he should be the next guy to do 106 face turns.
You went in and out there too. I didn't catch the ending of what you said.
The Paul White after this, he
I
left the
caught the
W.
Giant kept going in and out of heel and face.
Yeah, he's in and out of face turns, and then when he went to WWE, he was part of the corporation, left the corporation, turned heel with the Undertaker, came back, was a guy that did comedy skit, dressed up like Val Venus, and then all through his career, he was going in and out of face turns and heel turns. I'm like, damn, this guy must have his resume must be fucked up.
Right? That is true. But it was what it was. Again, like I said, it for being the Giant versus Sting, with the run that you seen the Giant have in WCW up to that point, you would have thought he would have had a better run, a better match with Sting. He'd go on in August to Hog Wild or Road Wild, where he would be in the final two in that battle royal with Goldberg. That Goldberg would win. Um, it's just I felt like kind of in a way they didn't know what they wanted to do with Sting really at that point in time, because here's the guy that's a franchise of WCW, and all of a sudden now he's part of NWO Wolfpack. And to me, I always felt like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the red and black for Sting, but to me, I always felt like Sting in any iteration of NWO just felt out of place.
You know, I never talked about that with you, but because we always did other stuff. Maybe for Lex Luger, that the NWO was perfect for him because Luger knew how to change his character in each promotion. WWE, he was a narcissist. Then he became Made in the USA. Then he joined the Dungeon of Doom. Then he just went on by himself. Luger was the perfect fit for the NWO Wolfpack because if you turn the NWO Wolfpack, Luger could be right there because Luger could change it. The Stinger was the franchise. Maybe you can change his look, but you can't put him into a group that for a whole year, he was fighting the NWO to save WCW. Turned into the Crow. And then he changed it into the NWO Wolfpack. It didn't fit. For him, it didn't fit well. And I agree with you. Stinger should have never been in the NWO Wolfpack, but they had nothing for him after him losing the title to Savage. You know, I felt like he was in a crossroad in his career, which is amazing that he was in a crossroad when you're the franchise of the company.
Right. It is crazy. But again, that was Eric Bischoff in WCW for you back in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
So, was what it was. So then that's the end of the pay-per-view. Of course, they build up for Bash at the Beach. That was the pay-per-view coming up in July that year afterwards. Honestly, Bash at the Beach was one of my favorite WCW pay-per-views that I did every year. And I kind of miss that show itself and how they do shows kind of at the beach more so, or around areas that had water anyways for that show, which I thought was pretty cool. But it'd be nice to see something like that come back at some point.
Oh, of course. You know, I remember.
But with all that said,
I remember 1995 Bash at the Beach, and in California, and Hogan versus Vader in the steel cage match, and then Savage versus Flair in a lifeguard match. I mean, that was nice to see it on the beach. I like that.
Right. Yeah, it seems like they could do something like that again if they wanted to. In WWE, there's a certain way you could set up things, I'm sure, to make it so you have a lot of people there. But
oh, yeah.
I don't know that they'd ever do something like that again, unfortunately. Could do it for NXT. I don't see why they can't. But,
true.
But overall, from the Great American Bash, I mean, they were missing some bigger names. You didn't have Ric Flair there. Luger and Nash were there, but weren't in matches. There's other bigger names, I'm sure, from WCW back then that weren't really in a match. That DDP wasn't in a match on this show. Wasn't even mentioned, really. So, what was your overall take on the Great American Bash 1998, and what would you give it ratings-wise, Eddie?
Okay, so my opinion about the 1998 Great American Bash, because of some matches that were really good, and then some matches were like just plain shit. Mine is I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
Sounds about right. And the only reason it's not lower, in my opinion, is because of the opening match and then Eddie and Chavo.
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
And Jericho and Malenko.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct with the ones that you say. Um, it was at a time when WCW was hemorrhaging money because it was also a couple of months after they start WCW Thunder to coexist with SmackDown, and they were basically hemorrhaging money that they couldn't sign new talent or all that, and some of these guys didn't care anymore. So Ric Flair, I think he was not even with he was with the company, but I think Ric Flair was on hiatus because he was having that bickering with Eric Bishop about when he wanted to go to his son Reed. His son Reed had his wrestling match, and Flair and Bischoff had that big argument. He said, "Stay home. I don't need you anymore." So yeah, it was a shitty time for WCW because then it got really worse when you had a guy that basically only came in to get a paycheck after this in the Ultimate Warrior.
Right? Yeah, well, the only good thing that really came out of 1998 for WCW wise was Goldberg's run as world champion, and at least Hogan didn't have the title in that feud with Warrior.
Most definitely, and there's another point I'm going to counter with you, and the rise of Booker T.
Yes, that as well. Of course, when you talk Goldberg, he held the title until December when the Starcade screw job kind of happened there. Uh, Hall helping Nash win the title from Goldberg, ending the streak.
Yeah.
But when you go from there, you also have to mention what happened the next night with the finger poke of doom. That was really the end, the beginning of the end for WCW, of course.
Almost definitely. And January, yeah, you can't forget about the finger point of doom that, and a side note about that too. That was the night when Mick Foley became the World Wrestling Federation champion by beating a Rock on Raw. That was tape delay from a week earlier that Bischoff had Tony Schiavone
Yep.
know the results of, and that's why I feel like the finger point of doom plus that
Spoil the.
it basically, it basically told WCW you're done.
Yep. So that was exactly the beginning of the end because that's when many viewers clicked the remote, turned from Nitro to Monday Night Raw to see Mick Foley win that championship after Shivani had spoiled that Mick Foley was going to win the title. That'll put a lot of butts in the seat. Yeah, it sure did. It had a lot of people turning the channel off of your show to WWE Monday Night Raw.
Yep. That was the one thing that maybe back in 96, 96 and all that, but in 1999, that was right in the heart of the Attitude Era. Do you really want to give WWE a memento? Yeah, they gave them motivation, and they whooped their ass for the rest of the term of WCW. I mean, hell, it just amazes me what they countered with just to get ratings back. They turned David Flair into an NWO Wolfpack member. What a great job, WCW. You sucked up all the energy.
Well, not only that, you can't forget they also made David Arquette their WCW World Champion.
Oh, I don't want to remember that. I don't want to remember. Nobody wants to remember that. Oh, oh.
Wow, it's in the history books, though.
I mean, God,
Had to bring it
God,
up.
I don't want to remember that. That was the saddest point of wrestling.
Yes. I mean, you call it the saddest point of wrestling. You can't go past the whole Jeff Jarrett laying down for Hulk Hogan to win the WCW championship in 2000 either.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, and I know we talked about '98.
Vince Russo run things at that.
If you look at it, WCW was going strong, and you could say if I'm wrong, am I right? After that mishap in '97 at Starrcade '97, when Hulk Hogan felt that Sting wasn't ready to take over the reins, and he pulled his creative control. He said Sting wasn't ready because Sting didn't look like he wanted it. I feel like all the pains and suffering of WCW started at Starrcade '97, and then from there, everything went to hell.
Yeah, pretty much. They had a few good things, like I said, with Goldberg's whole run as champion. But
Yeah.
he still did get Booker T, a 5-time WCW champion. DDP won the WCW title a couple times.
And we can't forget Oklahoma becoming the Cruiserweight champion.
Okay. Or Medusa.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and my favorite, damn it, the greatest boy band in professional wrestling. We got 3 count.
Oh, come on. Nothing wrong with 3 count. I mean, it's Sugar Shane Helms, aka the Hurricane.
Yeah.
Shannon Moore and Evan Courageous.
Yo, where is Evan Courageous?
I think I've looked him up before. I don't remember what he does nowadays, but I know he's not a wrestler anymore.
Yeah. I mean, hell, we even got.
I always thought he was going to be the breakout star of that faction, though, back then.
Most definitely. And man, we got the most exciting wrestler of all time from that era. Damn it, the few Eric, Vince Russo's favorite wrestler and future WCW World Champion, Tank Abbott.
Yeah, well, I remember Tank Abbott.
But we did get the Great Muta to come back, and then we got the Insane Clown. We got Vampiro. I mean, I always liked the Vampiro.
Yep.
And then we got the WCW.
Right.
And then we got
Sting was pretty good.
And then we got Dale Torborg as the Kiss Demon.
Yep.
And my favorite, and I know your favorite too, Tony. We got
the who could forget the Kiss Demon?
We got the greatest. We got the greatest security guard of all time. We got the greatest guy that made your heart warm in Ralphus.
Oh Lord, Jericho and Ralphus.
Oh yes. God! And then you got Screaming Norman. and then you got screaming Norman Smiley.
Yes. Can't forget, somebody call your mama. Ernest the Cat Miller.
Oh God. And
First show
we
up from
couldn't,
WCW.
and we can't forget the artist formerly known as Prince Iakea.
Okay. Yes.
And then,
Well, I mean, if you want to go that route, who could forget Huge Erection?
oh my God. Oh, and then Miss Hancock. Oh my God. We all know who she is.
Yes.
Oh,
GI Bro.
oh my God. And then the greatest match I ever saw in the WCW era, the Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
The pole. Yeah.
Oh, and then a Viagra match. Bishop Bishop must have been like, what? Bishop must have been
AEW
like,
just
what the
about
fuck? Yeah,
can match
Bishop
him with
must.
someone.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, yeah, we had our good moments about WCW. Like I said, Great American Bash '98 was, I give it a 5 because I felt like it was good, but not to a point that you had to spend your money to see. Like, I watch it back now, I go like, why the fuck did my grandparents buy this shit for me? You know, because it was a trashy pay-per-view.
On that shit.
Yeah. I said I could have watched
Because they
I could have
loved
watched
ya.
ECW better legal.
Ready to be happy.
Yeah. Did somebody put something? I can't see.
No, I don't think so. I took off something, but all right. Yeah, I agreed with you. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. Like we said, only because of 3 matches really on the card, worth watching. We will do more of these type of retrospectives or review shows at times, but next up we've got another one coming up next week. Wednesday, we plan on doing WWE SummerSlam from last year review show, and then we might do something extra different on not this Sunday, but the following Sunday as well. So,
Almost
and of course,
definitely.
we got SummerSlam coming up in a couple weeks that we'll be doing our prediction show for the first
Well,
ever tune SummerSlam. Very
well,
soon.
let's talk about that before we go. We have some great, ladies and gentlemen. We got some
So
great matches.
that's our plan. Go ahead.
Sorry, Tony. We got some great matches so far for SummerSlam. I can't wait to see what the card's going to turn out to be. But as of right now, it looks pretty damn good for SummerSlam, and hopefully we will find out this Monday or on Friday Night SmackDown on the condition of Seth Rollins, because the OTC won. I don't know even what the hell that means anymore. He changed his T-shirt. He's now OTC one. I'm like, I understand you're the only one, but I don't understand the T-shirt. But it's getting there. But we'll find out what it's going to be. You know, we have our world champion. We have our world title matches set. You know, we got Punk versus Gunther, and then we got John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. That's then 2 matches are going to be good. You know, then we got the women's championships set up already. We got the Io, Rena, and Naomi for the women's world heavyweight title. Then we got, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, I still feel like the Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton is going to turn into a triple threat, but we'll find out because Bianca's back. So let's just go from there. But we got some great matches, and I can't wait to do my prediction on the first ever 2-night SummerSlam live from New York.
Yes. You mentioned those matches. You forgot 2 matches, though, that we also know about. The Women's Intercontinental Championship, as Becky will defend against Lyra Valkyria. And then, of course, Drew McIntyre teaming up with Logan Paul to face the Viper, Randy Orton, and Jelly. Uh-oh. And Eddie's gone, apparently. So SummerSlam should be fun. We'll see what other matches get added to the show. Eddie's back, so I'll let him get his last words in here before we close out.
I don't know what happened. I think
I mentioned Jelly Roll and you disappear.
Oh my God! See, I knew. Hold on, I'm looking behind me. See, Jelly Roll threw jelly at me. You know.
Maybe we get you back because I'm not seeing you.
Can you see me now?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Hello, can you see me? Hello.
Now I see you.
Hello. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
all right. I got you now. I mentioned Jelly Roll.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I just want to say thank you, and I know Tony will agree with us. Thank you so much for coming on. You know, we appreciate every moment, and please, God damn it, leave a damn comment because we want to know what your opinion about the upcoming SummerSlam 2-night event from MetLife Stadium in New Jersey / New York, my hometown, people. If I am going, and let me just say this, I will, and I mean this, I will appreciate it if you will like, subscribe, and tap that notification so you know when we go live for our prediction show for SummerSlam. And I will appreciate if you will join us for that prediction show for the 2-night event for SummerSlam so we can tell you what our predictions are for SummerSlam. And it will make me feel good as a New Yorker, a proud New Yorker, boy from the Bronx that been to SummerSlams through his life. I will appreciate it if you do that for Tiger Talk Wrestling because we work our ass off and we will appreciate every moment if you will do that. And this is coming from Eddie from the Bronx and also the final boss.
All right.
I'm good now.
And a boss with his final say here tonight. Yeah. For the night, anyways. Yes, thank you guys for coming in. Okay. We appreciate all the support. For Eddie, I am Tony. Thank you guys for tuning in, whether it's live now or later. We will catch you guys for our SummerSlam review show next Wednesday. Have a good night.